studied MrBeast's top performing 100 videos, and I found something incredible. In all of MrBeast's videos, he uses evidence-based heuristics. He uses specific neurotransmitters, and he sticks to very specific, universal, naturally relatable patterns. This video, I'm gonna dive deep and explain all of that in detail so that you can consistently and reliably get more views, more engagement, and more subscribers. But before we jump in, let me explain some things. So, I broke down the title, thumbnail, and comment sections of his top 100 videos. Jimmy combines aggressive novelty, motivation, and curiosity multiplied by our base level tribal instincts for community and sociality to produce the top 0.1% of virality. He has over 300 million subscribers, and his main channel alone has 72.68 billion views, and his videos consistently get over 200 million views. If you're anything like me, you wonder how the f does he do that shit? I did a common factors analysis on all 100 videos, and it's exactly what I was looking for. The rest of this video is going to categorize everything that I found into 7 core principles, which I'm calling the laws of virality. And I call them laws because they are fundamental and anyone can use them, no matter who their audience is or what their channel content is. These are based on universal psychological and neuroscientific principles. And I know you probably hear this in every other video, but the last one actually is the most important because it's a meta law. It's something that involves all of the other laws combined. And once again, this is dense. I'm going to be fire hosing you with information. So feel free to take your time, pause the video, take notes, and get everything out of this that you can get. Let's get started. The first law of virality is the law of maximum clarity. Every single one of MrBeast's videos presents with maximal clarity. As examples, train versus giant pit, katana versus bullet, I sold my house for $1. You're giving the audience no room whatsoever for confusion. As soon as somebody gets confused about something, they're done. They're not interested anymore. And there are 2 core heuristics that this follows. The first is the bias of cognitive ease. And this is where humans prefer things that are easier to process. If something is instantly comprehensible, then we're just more likely to engage with it. Our brains don't have to go into processing mode. They just get it. They don't have to use calories to think about it. They just get it. And similarly, the fluency heuristic, where scientists have found that information which is processed quickly is actually perceived as being more engaging and more true. We literally prefer and value instant comprehension.
I understand it now.
And it might seem like a very simple concept, but I don't think anyone really executes it at the level that Jimmy does. Go back and check on some of your work and see if it is instantly comprehensible. The next law of virality is the law of relatability. So, I noticed that MrBeast only picks distinct subject matter, which people can immediately relate to. And there's 3 distinct parts of relation. 1, self-referential thinking.
What am I?
For example, the video, anything you fit into the circle, I'll pay for. You know what the video is about immediately, but the words he uses actually frames it as you question. So you start to think about yourself in the scenario. What would I put in the circle? We are actually going to weight that information more strongly because it directly relates to us, even if it's just a video or an idea. our brain is thinking about how we would respond in that same scenario, and therefore the information is considered more valuable, and therefore it is more engaging. The next piece of relatability is automatic association. This is something that takes place effortlessly and instantly in our minds. And I'll give you an example. If I say the word beach, your brain's probably going to start ruminating about sunburns or sharks or sand in your toes. These are automatic associations with the word beach.
The brain processes new information by using existing neural pathways, usually the ones tied to your most vivid or frequently used memories, like the fear of a shark at the beach or a painful sunburn that you once got. Some ideas naturally trigger stronger emotional and sensory responses. More vivid associations means stronger ideas, which means more attention and more engagement. More relatable ideas contain more relatable associations. So pay attention to what associations your idea has.
And finally, I'm just going to touch on a topic that will probably inform the rest of the laws as well. It's basically a biological mechanism of empathy. Human beings have a dedicated, mechanistic ability to feel what other people feel. And everything in MrBeast's content leverages this. When we start to see one of his contestants either fail or succeed in a challenge, we start to get more emotional immersion because our brain is going through the process of mirror neurons activating and experiencing what that person is experiencing. And of course, once we become invested in something, we're more likely to stick around and see how it turns out, which improves retention. So mirror neurons are specific neural cells which respond when we see someone else experiencing something. I know I'm only on the third law here, but I'm about to give you so much more than you've already gotten. Feel free to pause, catch up on your notes, and let's move on to Law 3. This is the law I call Guerilla Motivation. And that's because MrBeast forces you to watch his videos. Here's how. There are two basic motivators in any human being, or any animal for that matter. Pain and pleasure. There are two neurotransmitters associated with this as well, dopamine and cortisol. So we're actually getting a physiological rush of excitement and stress at the same time. That is what keeps viewers engaged. So it's the combination of rewards and stakes that produces a higher level of motivation for the viewer. Now we can also stack on top of that the next piece of guerrilla motivation, which is curiosity. But not just any kind of curiosity works. Imagine the difference between these two video titles. What did this kid choose as his favorite animal? Versus, would you pet a cheetah in Africa? Now this is a real video, and both of the titles could actually represent that video because that's what happens. But the curiosity gap is very different. See, the first title just makes us wonder, well, what kid are you talking about? Why do we care what animal he wants to see? Why does that even matter? That curiosity doesn't drive any motivation. It's random and arbitrary. But MrBeast's title is a little bit different. Would you pet a cheetah in Africa? That's A, self-referencing. B is very specific, and most people haven't actually seen a cheetah or been to Africa. So there's an element of novelty to it as well. So instead of random arbitrary curiosity, we're given specific, novel, self-referencing curiosity. And that is the key to curiosity. Here's a few examples. Moving on to number 4. This is the law of salience overloading. Our brains have a specific neural circuit called the salience network. And the salience network's function is to filter relevant stimuli, switch our attention, and coordinate between cognitive and emotional processes. The point of all of that is to pay attention to new things to see if it's important or not. The isolation effect is a heuristic that says when something stands out dramatically, it's more likely to be remembered. And MrBeast renders salience in a lot of different ways. The first way is doing things that have never been done before. And think about it, that's kind of the peak of novelty and salience. If something's never been done before, that means nobody has ever seen it before, except for you, if you click the video and watch. He also leverages extreme and absurd scenarios. For example, the world's largest bowl of cereal. This is a video that MrBeast actually made, and it's an absolute extreme of something people understand and know very well. And of course, something like that leverages our automatic associations, and it's just extremely novel. We've never seen it before, and therefore we are more likely to watch. MrBeast also likes to use arousal bias, and this is something you can understand through raw spectacle. High energy visuals or intense actions. You can think of this like fireworks shows or laser shows or fight scenes or explosions, things that just overload your senses. The last piece of salience is nostalgia. Now, this last one is my favorite. The inverse of novelty is actually nostalgia. When we see something that activates these memory unlocks in our brain, it gives us a reason to become emotionally invested. And actually, we already are emotionally invested because we're thinking about something that happened to us in the past that we have good memories of. And the use of nostalgia leverages the heuristic of the endowment effect. And this is where people do place extra value on things that they have emotional connections to. So our brain is going to pay more attention because we are responding and connecting in an emotionally valuable way. The next law is the law of tribal generosity. Now, MrBeast interacts with his community in two key ways. First, he interacts with the larger community by doing philanthropic things, building 100 wells in Africa, helping 1,000 blind people to see again, helping 1,000 people walk again, building houses for communities in need. He just altruistically gives back to the greater community. That in and of itself fosters respect, and it also activates the reciprocity bias. Because he gives back so much, we have an instinct to support him in return. And stuff like that just makes you root for the guy. Who doesn't want to see all these amazing things happen for people in need? These large-scale donations that genuinely change the lives of the people in those communities. Of course, none of us actually know MrBeast personally, but we feel like we do because we've seen so many of his videos. This is a concept called parasocial bonding, and it's the one-way bonding with another human being through a screen. And having this parasocial bonding can actually activate the neurotransmitter oxytocin. So it's this authenticity and empathy that really brings everything together for his generous community. And the second way that he interacts with his community is by doing challenges specifically with his subscribers. Some of his recent shorts actually show him double-checking to make sure that someone is subscribed to him, and if they are, they get a reward, just for being subscribed and in the right place at the right time. So MrBeast gives us the sense that he is a man of the people. We're in the home stretch now. These are the last two laws.
The world's most dangerous trap. 7 days stranded at sea. I paid a real assassin to try to kill me.
What do these videos have in common? Well, chaos. The next one is the law of controlled chaos. MrBeast makes a calculated effort to ignite primal instincts, survival instincts, safety instincts, and seeing people in those situations actually gives us a little hit of cortisol, which is the stress neurotransmitter. And primal instincts are so deep-seated in our biology that it's really hard to ignore. You can think of this as the fight or flight law. Is there something about your content that activates a fight or flight response? And this activates our negativity bias. People will naturally focus on more negative and threatening stimuli than neutral stimuli. It's the providing of extreme stakes that gets our brains compelled to investigate the potential threats, even in the sense of entertainment. And of course, it's important to note that he's always has safety teams on standby. He's never taking unnecessary risks. He's actually doing things in the safest possible way while taking them to their chaotic extremes. All right, so we've made it to the last and most important law. And I call this a meta law because it involves all of the previous laws. The law of harmony. This meta law is all about artistically and creatively blending all of the previous laws. The biggest takeaway I noticed from my common factor analysis of over 100 MrBeast videos was that MrBeast never just uses 1 or 2 or even 3 of the previous laws. He blends no less than 3 of them, and sometimes all 6 of them, to create the maximally viral experience. And that's his whole philosophy. Can you pack as much virality into a single idea in a way that gets 50 million, 100 million, 200 million views? And if MrBeast is any evidence of that, then yes, you can. You go the meta law of harmonies as heuristic compounding. How many multiple separate biases can you activate simultaneously and generate urgency and excitement in a way that gets people to watch?
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets the
gross.
people going.
For example, spending 24 hours in a city with no laws. That's the law of controlled chaos, that's salience overloading, and that's also relatability. It's highly salient, it's a little chaotic, and it makes you wonder what you would do if you were there. Another example is, I filled my brother's house with slime and bought him a new one. This is tribal generosity, it's salience, it's relatability, and it's guerrilla motivation in this highly anticipated reward. Or we could look at, I cleaned the world's dirtiest beaches. This is a video that enacts tribal generosity. It is also extremely relatable. Everyone understands how polluted our world is. And it's salience overloading because it's a massive, never before seen transformation. If you get nothing else out of this video, I just want to convey to you that 1 or 2 strategies or tactics for virality are actually not enough. You need to be able to creatively blend a maximal amount of these different heuristics, biases, psychological triggers, or simply these 7 laws of virality. And notice too, you can take these ideas and use them in any context. For example, this highly edited rave cats page. At the end of the day, the guy's just taking videos of his cats. It's highly relatable, it's highly salient, it's a little bit chaotic, it's a spectacle, and it just makes us think about our own experiences with our own pets. And honestly, there are tons of other examples. But after all that, I want to let you know something very important. If you want to study these principles, these 7 laws, I do actually have a resource in the description. There's also a community you can go to help you study psychological, neurological, sociological factors in your content to help you produce better content in a way that is based on evidence and not random, curious, arbitrary hype. If this video gave you any value at all, whatever interaction you want to make on it, I'd be happy to see. I would really appreciate that. And thank you guys so much for your time. I hope it helped. Peace.